Offside.
You got to win that, man.
Offside, potentially.
Shite defending from Akanji, that. He's got to win that ball, man.
Bro, he was so long on it.
He's got to win that. 1-0 Brentford, exactly what we deserve. Started proper crap. And Akanji's got to win that header. As soon as he doesn't win that header, it's dangerous. And then it's in the back of the net. Fucking hell, man.
Big rip.
We started this game shockingly bad.
They did. Of course, welcome back to the Fan Channel review. I am back, fit, strong, healthy. Thank you for all the lovely messages yesterday. I'll talk about that a little bit more later down the line. A big scare, but they're all clear. Make sure you're downloading the OneFootball app. Scan that beautiful-looking QR code on the screen. Subscribe to the Terrace. Get your comments in below. You know what to do. Of course, City Xtra boys here, fuming after going 1-0 down to Brentford, and they're right to. They started the game with no intensity, absolutely none.
Absolutely shocking. And that was terrible defending from Akanji. He's got to win that header. He's the centre-back there.
Oh, he's onside. Yeah, he's onside.
John Stone's playing him on.
He's so desperate for it to be offside that it'd be offside. It might be offside. He was clearly on. No issues with it at all whatsoever. Let's take a look at the second goal.
Oh my God, we're in the bin.
Oh my God, we're in the bin.
We're in the bin.
Fucking deserve that, you shit twats. Deserve that all game, shite.
He's got, honestly, I think this guy's got the best accent stroke voice on social media.
0 subs, shite. That is poor, man. That is poor. Absolutely deserved that. Our corners, what have I said before about corners? What did I say about corners? Our corners are a disgrace. They're a disgrace. I'm sorry. I don't care about that stat last year about us having the best corners in the league. It's a myth. Our corners are actually embarrassing.
Do you know what I say about City? I've been saying it all year. I'm enjoying the meltdown, by the way, boys. Remember, all links to all channels in the description below. City have been gettable all season. Every game, teams get at them more than the last few years, in my opinion. It's why this title race has been wide open from about week 2, week 3. City are a brilliant team. They've got KDB. They've got the robot in Haaland. But if you can nullify that or they have bad games, they're gettable. You can get at this defense. City beaten, embarrassed at home. Arsenal go top at Christmas.
Winter champions say we are winter champions. We are winter champions. Say we are winter champions. Top of the league, baby. 5 points clear. 5 points clear. 5 points. 5.
I think he's lost his bloody mind. What's wrong with him? Is he having a midlife crisis?
5. What? 5? I got 5 on it.
What's he doing? What's he doing?
We're 5 points clear. It ain't easy. Big up Saeed. Ain't easy being top of the league, is it? That weren't easy tonight either.
I'll tell you this. When is Lee Gunner going to come out of the closet? This is my message here. You can see how happy he is. He's happy. They're top of the league. They're in the title race. He's got to admit he was wrong about Arteta, right? He says, when Arteta gets me into a title race, I'll back him. So what we need is the Lee Gunner Arteta apology. That's what we need.
By the way, that was a hard watch. But relegation for Odegaard turned up like I predicted he would in the build-up to the watch-along. On the watch-along, I said he would score tonight because he always turns up in these games. But before we get in and dissect him.
Hang on a minute, though. How are you upset that Odegaard scored a brace? He only did it tonight because they're a rubbish team. But you needed to beat this rubbish team to go 5 points clear at the top. Fair enough, he may not score against the big teams. That's a fair criticism. That doesn't mean you are angry. Come on, Lee. How do you go from being happy to being annoyed? Do you know what it is? Lee's got a problem with being wrong. I'm going to call him out on Tuesday on this. He should be thanking Odegaard, but instead he's attacking him. So maybe the apology is a little bit further away than I thought, but come on now. You've got to be happier than that. You've got to be. You're top of the goddamn league, mate.
Let's go! Come on!
Every game we go behind. We're like a Premier League rucksack, fam. It's shocking stuff. The only game I like going behind in is Mr. Nasty Time with the missus, fam. You know what it's like? It's like having a defense full of ribbons because we keep getting cut and opened up time after time. Cindy Lauper defending, fam. Dyer again. Eric Fry up in the Dutch pot and cooked, blood. Emerson starts again, and I've had enough. Conte must be sniffing Parmesan cheese, blood. Only right wing Emerson should be on is a right wing in a Brazilian jail because it's criminal. He makes shocking subs as well. We need a goal. Bringing on defenders. Taking off Richarlison, fam. Shocking subs, blood. That's like Subway serving a veg and bacon sub, blood. Shocking. It don't make sense.
Listen, a lot of people are probably going to there'll be some people in the Tottenham community that are going to be upset with X. I saw a lot of Tottenham fans yesterday say, this is why you don't say Conte out. This is why you don't overly challenge Conte. This is why we as Tottenham fans should be happy. And of course, you should be always happy with winning games, especially when you win them dramatically as they did. No one should be upset at that per se. But the problem is that what some of these Tottenham fans are doing is they're living in cloud cuckoo land. They're living in cloud cuckoo land. They went 1-0 down, 2-1 down, 3-2 down. They, against a better team, they lose. X is right to be frustrated. People are right to challenge what they're doing. Because the Newcastles, the Arsenals, the Man Cities typically are not doing that. Sustainability is key. So you should be celebrating the win. It was a superb comeback. But you shouldn't be needing to have to come back in every single game you play in.
Watch Spurs right now, mate. They really are. They really are. I don't know how we've dug it out. I don't know how we've dug out a win there. I'll never know.
He knows that as well. See, obviously, he was kind of turning in the week. Not overly celebrating here, but he knows there was luck in that.
Because honestly, after 75 minutes, I wanted to just walk. I wanted to go home because they've sucked the life out of me, Gabs. You know, like you're saying to me, you're not even celebrating anymore because I'm just so stressed out watching Spurs play. Because every time we look like we're going to win a game, we go and concede. The only time I celebrate is when we score in the dying moments because you know the game's over. I was seething when we go 3-2 down against Leeds. And
listen, and look, Ohara's right. And this is when you know Ohara's speaking sense. He's being honest with how he feels about Tottenham. And I know what I'll get in the comments. Terry's hating on Tottenham. I don't hate on Tottenham. I'm just calling it as I see it. You're still a good team. You're still going to finish in the top 4. But it doesn't mean that the way you're approaching games and the way you're playing should not be criticized. It's what we do. We sit here and we talk about football. I'm not just going to say, oh, all's fine at Tottenham because you're 4th in the league, because you won a game. And even your chief cheerleader, your most famous fan, you know, the leader of Spurs fans online, Jamie Ohara, is saying, you know, exactly the same thing now.
As I promise, like, and even it's been a weird these past few months. Knowing
Almiron plays it off to Willock, and that's the goal for Newcastle. It has been coming. I was just saying there are players like Almiron who are defying logic in this Newcastle side. Skips inside, lays it off to Willock, and it's 1-0 Newcastle. Goal Newcastle. They lead 1-0, and I don't know whether there's a way back for Chelsea here. They just
and Goldbridge is absolutely right. First of all, the Almirons of this world define logic. That the way people have bought into this Newcastle project is a madness, legit madness. How people are bought into, like, how much the players have embraced it, how they're listening to Eddie Howe. There's a feel-good factor, and that has led to a huge amount of confidence. You look at the situation at Chelsea, and that's simply not there. They are not bought into what the club and Graham Potter are doing right now. There is a disconnect beyond belief.
Because you just know they're not going to score. I've already explained this. Where are the goals going to come from? But that relates onto my second point. And my second point is an observation that I saw when I went to watch training. And it's an observation that I've seen in previous matches. And that only clarified it to me when I saw it happen today again. Which is Graham Potter has about as much inspiration as a goldfish.
It's kind of true though, ain't it?
With all due respect, I see nothing from the touchline. And I see nothing from Potter. These players could be doing wrong, and sometimes they might not even know they're doing wrong, and no one will say a thing. No one will say a thing. I'll tell you guys what I saw at training, right? Two things. Two things was, one, Graham Potter was in the distance. He leaves his staff to do the training session, which I understand. Managers do that, right? But during the session, during a drill, during an exercise, the manager's the one that's watching and intervenes if something goes wrong. Or if something needs to be pointed out. Stop. This, that, you, that player. What about this? How about you do this? How about you move there? How about you try that? How about you pass there? How about you shoot there? Something. There was nothing. My observation from training is exactly what we see during the match. There is nothing from Graham Potter. Not a
I understand where Younes is coming from, and I put out a tweet a few weeks ago saying I think people are sleeping on Chelsea under Potter, and that was because it started well. But I don't know what's going on with him. And I say that because I think Chelsea are having an identity crisis, how they want to play football. There's lots of players there who, of course, were brought in to play for Sarri. Some that were brought in to play for Lampard, Tuchel. Their style of play. They're now on to a third, fourth manager at the club, some of these players. The club are going in a new direction. There's a disconnect there. But you even see it with Graham Potter. Graham Potter is increasingly looking like a sociology teacher who has left his partner, left his wife for someone half his age. And he's desperately trying to look young and trendy. He's changing his image. He's changing what he was. And deep down inside, he knows this is going horribly wrong. I feel like Graham Potter right now is so far out his depth. And we've said this many times before. There are always managers that are at these smaller clubs that look really good. But there has to be a stepping stone. And maybe over the course of time, Graham Potter will get this right if they're patient with him, if they stick with him. But for me, when I kind of look at the situation right now, the club's got an identity crisis. The manager's got an identity crisis. There's a disconnect between the players and the manager, the owners and the players. It's clear. And Chelsea fans, I just don't believe are going to allow patience to ensue. Whether that's right or wrong, you can debate that in the comments. But there is a real problem at Chelsea right now. The lack of fight in these games, if they keep this up, they're not even going to make it into Europe next year, let alone the Champions League, let alone win anything this campaign. And as much as there's a transition and as much as there is a rebuild, there should still be standards. There should still be, with the world record amount of money spent in the summer, plus the money spent in previous years, which is your base and foundation, there has to be some running. There has to be some pressing. There has to be some ideas. Thomas Tuchel was slammed for saying that we can't do this with the same players. Graham Potter said the same thing in nicer ways. But I understand Younes. I understand what Goldbridge has said there, because Chelsea are in absolute... They're a mess. That's all I can say, is they're a mess. Listen, make sure you hit the like and the share button before you go. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Scan the QR code for the One Football app. Get it downloaded or click on the link in the description below. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.